St. Francis, good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 29th day of the month of August 2025. It is Friday of the 21st week of the year, 21st week in Ordinary Time. It is also the memorial of the beheading of John the Baptist. So we celebrate his beheading as a memorial. It's always these weird kinds of things. Actually, see, all of the interesting thing about it is that all the saints whose days we celebrate are usually the date of their martyrdom, but we never ever actually speak of what kind of martyrdom they went through. It's just the memorial of this saint name, that saint name, whatever it is. And so, but here we have John the Baptist beheading, not just a memorial of him, because we do get 2 days to celebrate John the Baptist. It is both his birth and then his beheading, which is not as high a day as is his birth. So this is only a memorial as opposed to the solemnity, the highest of feasts within the church that we celebrate his birth with. So it is what it is. So we have it's also the end of the second full week of class here at the Franciscan School, and it is morning drop-off happening as I speak. So and we keep all of those in Minneapolis, especially the members of Annunciation Parish, Annunciation School, continually in our prayers as we work not just to react to things, but hopefully to respond to them in ways that bring hope and life and protection. Our readings for today, the gospel is about John the Baptist's beheading, but the first reading from Thessalonians, now Paul goes into reminding the Thessalonians that, again, if they accept what Paul and his companions are giving them about the gospel, then they're called to live a particular way. Now, again, did all Greeks and Romans live this, crazy, lascivious life where, anything goes and all kinds of activities and things that would, stun the most pious, the most devout of us and probably cause us to faint? Again, we're practiced again and again and again. Well, it probably wasn't as wild as sometimes we make it out to be, or even perhaps as wild as Paul describes it at times, but there were elements, of course, in which people just thought of themselves. And that's the whole point, within Greco-Roman, the Greek and Roman structure, was that you try to align yourself with those who were most important to be able to take a step up in life for yourself and to be able to, to make yourself as successful as they were. And so there was a lot of using people, and it could also be using people in relationships that were supposed to be loving based and things like that. And so Paul is warning the Thessalonians, you can't act this way and call yourself a member of this movement. You can't call yourself a believer if this is how you're going to treat yourself or to treat others. And again, it just brings to mind, for all of us who bear this name of Christian, how is it that we act? What is it that we do, in our day-to-day lives that gives evidence of what we believe and how we believe, as opposed to it just being a name that we hold, a title that we hold with all kinds of privileges perhaps attached to it, that there is much more to being a believer in this world than just attaching ourselves to a particular name. In the gospel, again, we have the whole account of John's beheading. Again, Herod, who is so weak of will and mind, it seems, that he finds himself in a situation in which he promises his stepdaughter basically anything as she does a dance for him that delights him in some ways. Again, where all that's going is really weird. But her mother, Herodias, who did not like the Baptist because he criticized her for divorcing Herod's brother and then marrying Herod, which was kind of against Jewish law and things like that. And so she wanted John the Baptist dead because of the challenge he was giving her in her life. And so the child asks her mother, what should she ask for? And again, the mother says, Herodias says, the head of John the Baptist on a platter. And so that's what's given to the child. And again, what kind of child is this? What kind of mother is this? Yes, but what kind of child is this that would accept this, gruesome, horrific kind of gift, in some ways? But again, the whole imbalance of life, this is beginning to show that Jesus comes to correct the whole inability of even those who call themselves leaders to truly lead and to know the right judgments, to know what to do and what not to do, how to exist and how to live within this world. These individuals are demonstrating themselves incapable of understanding truly what it means to be, a person, a human being within this world. And John the Baptist suffers, because of that. But again, it is where Jesus comes to show us a different way. a way that's not dealt with revenge and with hatred and with bitterness, but one that deals with, something as, ridiculous sometimes we think, as love, as hope, as mercy, as care for each other. Living that way, hopefully we will avoid more and more the pains and the hurts we experience in this life. We will experience more of God's joy and God's love in our own lives. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.